we're up to the work session part of it, which is city manager.
And I also need to make the closed session.
All right, make your closed session announcements.
So as usual, we met in closed executive session before the Cal meeting. We did talk about a number of pending litigation matters, including the Monahan litigation, the Greenman litigation, the Zisa litigation, the litigation involving the police officers involved in the 64 Prospect incident, and a workers' compensation matter involving Mr. Sheik. That's everything.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll turn it over to you then, to the city manager.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Our first thing on the agenda today is a public hearing regarding Bergen County open space. I'd like to invite Laura Winthrop up from Millennium Strategies, our grant writing company, to give a short presentation.
The city is applying to the Bergen County Open Space Recreation, Floodplain Protection, Farmland, and Historic Preservation Trust Fund Municipal Park Improvement Program. This is a grant program that helps municipalities improve their open space and recreation facilities and provides 50% funding, with the city providing the other 50% of the project cost. The name of the project is the West Railroad Park Project, which is located at West Railroad and Clay Street, and it is a pocket park. The total cost is $296,438.40, and the total grant request is $148,219.20, representing 50% of the total project cost. The project site is currently currently has a swing set and some open grassy area, and the proposed project will install a new playground and safety surfacing, along with fencing around the and gates around the park, around the playground, along with some safety and traffic signs. That is the project description. I've listed out the project scope, which includes site clearing, grading and earthwork, installation of some drain pipe and seepage pit, and then the main elements, which are the installation of the 5 to 12-year-old playground, some benches and safety surfacing, along with the installation of the picket fence, metal and gate, and some restoration of sidewalk and curbing.
Okay, thanks very much, first council members. Anyone have any comments or questions?
Yes, would the entire park be fenced in?
Yes, the concept plan is on the 3rd page, and you can see the fencing, which will go around the perimeter of the park.
Do we have this electronically so everybody can see, or no? We don't?
No,
Okay.
but I have extra copies if anyone would
Okay.
like one.
They put it here on the maybe. It wasn't here when we first got here.
Yeah.
Deputy Mayor, we also need to open it up to the public for comment. I'm just waiting until you had any more.
I really, I just think, just give it a
That's why
second. Take a
I
look.
just wanted to let you know.
You're good?
Yes, I guess I can't see the fencing part of it, but
You're saying it's totally fenced?
can that be sent to
Yeah,
us?
I can
Yeah,
definitely
please,
send
thank
it.
you.
Will this be an accessible playground for kids with different abilities?
Yes.
And okay, perfect,
It will be all ADA compliant.
perfect. Thank you.
And there's no restroom area or anything like that, it's just a swing set open area, yes? Okay.
It's currently a swing set.
Okay.
It will be more of a playground structure.
And the ground will be
Safety surfacing.
awesome.
Okay then, if I could have a motion to open to the public just on this?
Offer.
Roll call?
Councilmember Von Rudenberg. Aye. Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus is absent.
Okay, if anyone from the public wishes to come up, make a comment, ask questions, only on this particular topic of the Bergen County Open Space Grant and this proposed park for West Railroad Ave. I see none. Can I have a motion to close to the public?
Offer.
Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg. Aye. Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus is absent.
Thank you, Laura. Second presentation is regarding 2022 TD Bank Green Space Grant. I'd like to invite Mr. Josh Cohen up from the Straight Tree Committee to do a short presentation.
Are we gonna have it on the screen or? Because I didn't bring a printout of the,
You're working on it.
the working on it. Thank you.
Give it a minute. Welcome.
You can do it from memory, but yeah.
That's okay. Welcome, Josh.
Alright, so this is the 2022 TD Green Space Grant. We've been working on it as one of our projects. I'm Josh Cohen. Also on our committee, Margot Cooper, Dana Burns, and Trip Adler. Next slide, please. Right, so we applied for this, I think it was due in December. We were one of 20 organizations nationwide to be awarded a $20,000 grant in support of local forestry projects in areas of great need within a community. That's actually considered international. It's 20 organizations in the US and Canada. So if you look on their listing, it's kind of nice. We're up there with some big cities like Brooklyn, Chicago, I think got one. Past places like Burlington, Vermont, it's nice that we got this. So the grant goes to support green infrastructure development, tree planting, forestry stewardship, and community green space expansion as a way of advancing environmental and economic benefits towards low carbon economy. The theme for this year is supporting communities delivering environmentally equitable solutions. And they gave priority to projects in areas that primarily serve low to moderate income residents or take place in underserved communities. So if you go to the next slide, please, thank you. This is what we figured was the need for the project. At first, we considered just applying to this grant for using it for street tree plantings. Fred on DPW was the one who forwarded me the application in the beginning, and I think he thought that that's probably what we could use it for. We wanted to focus on the Jackson Ave Elementary School District area because that is actually the lowest income area of the whole city according to census block demographics. I wasn't aware of that when we started this project. I thought it would have been a different area, but it's actually the Jackson Ave area. And then also the Environmental Commission did a study on different areas in the city separately from this and had shown that that same area is also the lowest density of tree canopy in the entire city. So that kind of goes along with a lot of the research showing low income, low tree canopy coverage. These are highly correlated together. So again, we thought we could just use this money and use street trees, which is typically what we do and where we're comfortable. In that location, there are really few areas that are suitable for planting trees. It's a lot of narrow roads, a lot of overhead wires. In order to really make a suitable location, probably would have to make tree wells, and it wouldn't have gone that. We wouldn't have been able to make $20,000 go that far if we had started to do stuff like that. So Edith Terzano pointed out Pulaski Park is an underserved park in that area. Combine that with the school next door, and you have 4 acres, which are mostly tree barren. You can see on the left overhead, there's really not much there, it's just an open field. After talking to the principal, they don't even use the whole field. The kids play in a really small area. They don't utilize 4 acres. The kids don't need like just open space like that. Yeah, so if you go to the next slide, please. Thank you. These are what we want our outcomes of the project to be. The top right is Pulaski Park as it is today. You see it's pretty much open space with a playground. bottom right is a stock photo, and I'll get to that in the description. So we want to have an urban forest with a shrub understory, and we want to create an inviting and accessible green space on Pulaski Park and Jackson High School. The project's going to highlight native species and a pollinator garden in partnership with the Hackensack Gardening Club. The minimums we're looking to plant, 30 trees, 30 shrubs, 200 non-woody plants. That's what we put on our application. So it's going to be pretty transformative, we hope, for that area where it's barren right now. Part of this grant also, I saved about $5,000 of that $20,000 budget for an outdoor classroom. So we want it to be an inclusive and culturally responsive space. We want there to be sensory aspects. This all became really important during COVID. That's when the teachers started to bring their students outside, and Jackson Ave does have a few stumps that they've used for outdoor classroom, but they don't have that blackboard, they don't have a lot of tools, they don't have a lot of things to really make it like an outdoor learning environment. And so we're hoping with that $5,000 we could at least get a blackboard like you see, or a whiteboard on the bottom right, get them some tools and sensory pit or something, and they can start to explore the green space that we're hoping to create there. Next slide, please. Thank you. So we have 3 partners: Jackson Ave Elementary School, obviously, the Gardening Club of Hackensack, and then we were also able to talk to Fairleigh Dickinson University, the School of Education, to help with professional development, so that we don't just drop a classroom on teachers or outdoor classroom on teachers who are going to use anything like that. The elementary school has also been going for its sustainability certification. I think they're like a bronze right now. I could be wrong, but there are different levels to it, and so we can tie that into some of the professional development of this. Next slide, please. Yes, this is a site plan. Ryan Wester was really great and brought along Matt Smith from Suburban, who's a landscape architect, and they put together this idea basically of what we could do for a site plan. This budget was more than what we actually have, so we're going to have to cut it back and we'll use smaller trees, but this gives us some ideas and things we can work with. It's a little hard to see on the screen, but we have trees along the street. The students enter from the left, that driveway that's on the middle left, and we want to plant some smaller flowering trees like dogwoods and red buds along there to help beautify the entrance. And then on Pulaski Park, towards the bottom, on the right, Pulaski Park is that whole pie that's on the right side of the screen. It's just mostly green, and that's city property. And it floods a lot towards the bottom part of that. When we were there, it was just really soggy, felt like quicksand. The landscape architect suggested we could do something like a rain garden, which would tie in also with, I think, what this city is working on with green infrastructure. He gave us a list of plants that we could use that would be suitable for that. He put it closer to the basketball court, which is probably nice. People can see it better there, but it is wetter as you go further back, so we can figure out where we put that as we go along with it. And it's hard to see again. We have some trees in the middle dividing Pulaski Park and the school, and that would be I think there used to be trees there, and that's where the seating is, and the trees would help give some shade so that you can sit there more. When we did a site visit, a resident came up and said that she really wishes there were more trees there, so that they could use the benches, which makes sense. So yeah, that's the site plan more or less. Next slide, please. Thank you. A big part of the grant requirement is having a community engagement event. So our intention here is to get volunteers to help with the labor of installing this. It'll involve the community, help them feel ownership over what we want to be a accessible green space for them. It's going to take place in the fall of 2022, which we're hoping gives a better chance for our survival of the material to do it in the fall. Want to involve the community. This also gives an opportunity for TD Bank participation, which was part of what they want. We can invite the press. Of course, we would want, hopefully have participation from the council or anyone from the city. We'd like to hand out some like bare roots, small tree saplings or shrubs as part of a draw to get people to come. That also ties into there not being a lot of suitable street tree plantings in the street tree locations in the area. Some of the best places are on private property, and so by handing things out, hopefully we can get some more canopy covers that way. And we'd like to also involve the students in like art projects or something like a poster contest, and we'll work with the principal on figuring that out. Next slide, please. Thank you. This is about the installation and maintenance. So we're going to be utilizing volunteer labor as much as possible. We would appreciate assistance from DPW and plantings on city property. I think, depending on the turnout, we can do some or all of it, but having city assistance there also is huge because you have the large machines. We're going to prioritize smaller caliber material. So we're not going to plant 4-inch trees. You measure a tree size by diameter. We're not putting in large trees. We're going to go smaller so that we can do more of them. And so that they're easier to plant. But I think we also have a better survival chance if we do smaller trees. Going forward, both the school and the city will be responsible for maintaining it. We're going to use gator bags, which are bags that can attach to the tree, and you fill them up with a 5-gallon bucket. We don't have resources for maintaining it, and so that would be up to the city and the school on their property to do that. Or we would have to take out budget from purchasing to maintain them or something like that. And we're also focusing on native plants with the idea that they require less maintenance, less water needs once they're established. Next slide, please. Thank you. And just thanks for contributions. Carly O'Connell from Millennium helped us get the grant. Fred and Joe have been great partners. Allison has been really helpful pointing me in who to talk to and how to get things accomplished here. Jacqueline's been a really great partner, thank you. We have really enthusiastic partners in Principal Moran and Vanessa, and Superintendent Sanchez has been really great. And Edith Terzano also was really helpful in putting together and volunteering to work on the application with them. I think that's it, thank you.
Great. First of all, wonderful presentation. Thank you. You did a great job. And I think you picked a very good project. I think there's areas of the city that have been neglected or just overlooked for a long time. And now that we have folks that are digging in, and yourself included in your club and your organization, and the garden club is what I meant to say, and the environmental commission, we're really seeing some good positive change, and it's nice to see that we have good working boards and people from the city that are invested in this. So we really, as a council, we all really appreciate that. My only other question is, okay, so budget-wise, you think you can accomplish this with $20,000? I mean, do you have a line item budget?
It's going to be scaled back from what you saw.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, $20,000 of trees, we should be able to easily get 30 trees and some shrubs in there.
Great. And I'm sure Vinny will coordinate with DPW, and they're always happy to help with things like this when they can. So the city will do whatever it can to assist you guys, and you just let Vinny, Allison, and Jacqueline know what your plans are and when your schedule is, and make sure that we can work together to see it happen. But it looks great. What about other council members? Anybody?
Well, it's a nice project, and anything we can do to help you, it's going to see really.
Thank you.
Jerry, Steph?
No, it's a great site that you picked. I was going through my head looking at the other elementary schools, and definitely this one needs trees. All the other schools have trees, and parks have trees. So you think about the kids out there during lunch in the heat on a hot day. I just think it's a perfect site, so thank you.
Yeah, and having the outdoor learning space too.
Absolutely.
I think, whether we need to use it or we just want to use it. I mean, it's an adventure for the students to have a class outside. Think of it that way, right?
That's exactly what the teachers were saying. They started during COVID, but they really liked it, and one of those things that changed that they wanted to keep following through with.
I know the garden club has been looking for opportunities to really try to work with the kids, so that'd be a great spot.
Yeah, even, to get some gardening going down there, like our community garden is so popular where we have it, and there's a lot of open space here, like you said.
We could definitely do raised beds, and they have some smaller ones, but with part of this budget, we could build some bigger ones if they wanted.
No, but I think it's something the city should, we have such luck here at Fashini with the community garden, people are just loving it. So, another location, on another side of town might really, and seeing that the land is there, and as long as it's not too wet and soggy, you made it sound a little soggy.
The backside of it does get pretty wet,
Yeah.
but you have a lot of space there.
Yeah, but I mean, it's nice to have the local community gardens, so people can walk there and tend it and, pick their tomatoes and
Especially
not
the
have to get in
kids
the car.
might not be able to get to the green garden.
You know, any place they got an empty lot, maybe they got it.
And for the students, I mean, I think it's great, for them to be part of it too, and, to see nature at its best. So we appreciate it. Please convey our thanks to everyone else on the safety committee, and we look forward to hearing more about it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Josh.
Okay, Steph, are you gonna be next?
Yes,
All right, we
yes.
have a proclamation that we were going to do, we usually do at the 8 o'clock session, but folks here are folks involved in this are here today, so we're at this point, so Steph, if you want to just take over and.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're happy to have a proclamation to honor Pride Month for June. And I'll read the proclamation and then introduce some guests here that we're very honored to have. Proclamation from the office of the mayor of the city of Hackensack. Whereas the battle for dignity, equality, and personal safety for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and questioning people is reflected in the tireless commitment of the LGBTQ community, as well as dedicated advocates and allies who strive to forge a more inclusive society. And whereas these advocates and allies work towards making sure the LGBTQ+ community within the city of Hackensack is heard, including the young members that are striving towards inclusivity. And whereas the Gay Straight Alliance, established at the Hackensack Middle School, that has over 100 members made up of the young residents of our city, is one of only 2 clubs within all of Bergen County advocating for not only LGBTQ youth, but all members of the community. And whereas LGBTQ Americans, including those who live in our local communities, face hate and discrimination simply for being who they are and for who they love, and there remains much work to do to extend the promise of our country to every person. And whereas the Progress flag represents all members of the LGBTQ+ community by emphasizing inclusion for all, by including black and brown stripes to represent marginalized people of color within the LGBTQ community, as well as pink, white, and light blue stripes to represent the transgender community. And whereas by raising the Pride Progress flag in the city of Hackensack, we are continuing to affirm our belief that we are all more free when we are treated as equals and take pride in all of our LGBTQ community members. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the mayor and the city council of the city of Hackensack do hereby proclaim June 2022 as the city of Hackensack's lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and questioning Pride Month. And in raising the Pride Progress flag, encourage all community residents to eliminate prejudice wherever it exists and to celebrate our great diversity by celebrating our LGBTQ friends and neighbors within our city. So we have a very special guest, Ash. We're honored to have him here today, and he's going to bring up the flag that we're going to use on June 1st to raise. And Ash is responsible, come on up, Ash, for starting the gay. What happened?
Where do you want me to stand?
Come on up here. Yep. And Ash is responsible for starting the Gay Straight Alliance Club at the Hackensack Middle School, which has over 100 members. This is a huge accomplishment in such a short amount of time to have so many members, and we're very honored to have him here tonight. And he's our neighbor and our friend, and we're very excited to have him here.
Albert, you maybe you can get a picture, so come on over, guys, you want to get a picture? You let Ash hold it, and
We go down there, or not first time?
I think we're all together, right?
Yeah.
Then I'll get a picture, so let's hold it up a
Hold it up a little bit
so we can see how pretty it is. Very colorful.
What are you gonna keep?
All right, that's a picture for the city.
Thank you. Got it, thank you.
Thank you.
How about holding back up?
Wait, we have the proclamation for you.
Oh, okay.
Step. Right in. Thank you, again, we appreciate it. She says, your job to fold it up.
Oh, mine? I
Again, thanks again, we look forward to seeing you at the event. So everyone knows we're doing this June 1st, right?
Yeah.
June 1st at 3:30?
Yes.
4 o'clock?
3:30.
3:30?
3:30 Leonard Street Park.
3:30 at Manor Street Park on June 1st.
That's a lot of, I don't know how the mayor does all those proclamations so much.
No, look how nice you
I thought you
voted.
were reading, that's a lot of reading.
It's nice to have nice things sometimes, you
Yes.
know, and this was a nice one, so. Okay, so what's next?
Okay. Next is the 2022 Shade Tree application. We've been working with Shade Tree Commission regarding some changes to the application. It's basically complete now, and that will become part of the new process. Also a discussion regarding the excavation ordinance. We've updated the fees in there, as well as it coincides with the shade tree application as well, because we had to change some of the amount of money. That's up for introduction tonight also. And last but not least is the CSO Stormwater and Parks update. So I'll call up Ryan, our project manager, for a presentation.
Good evening.
Good evening, Brian.
Okay, we did start off with the city CSO area, the Clay Street Sewer Separation Project. Contract 1 has been completed. We're just working on punch list items right now. And if you look at the map, that's the green portion on the map in the upper right. Which also includes Lot U, which was partially resurfaced and striped today. It was striped this afternoon, actually. And then once we do, I'm not sure if it's included in contract 3 or contract 4, but we're gonna completely resurface and repave that lot, so it's nice and fresh. For the contract 2, we had which is the portion from the Frashini out to the river. We had a pre-construction meeting in the beginning of May. The notice to proceed was issued on May 4th. And that project, we're looking to probably start late summer, early fall, just due to the procuring of the box culverts. Just with supply chains, it's impossible to get right now, so that's probably gonna get pushed off to start in the fall.
And all the easement process, everything that is all
Yep,
taken
that's
care
all
of?
done, now we're
finished
just
with that?
gonna put it in the ground, so that's all taken care of.
And no interference here with the work we're doing on the ball fields in Fishing?
No, that's at the opposite end. This is right when you come in the part between the pillars, that's where we're gonna start, and if you look left, we're going straight that way.
Okay.
So we're-
And you'll still be able to get in, that won't be blocked entrance?
It might be blocked for maybe a week or two, just till we get out of
Okay,
that.
and they'll come back to the
entrance.
field.
We'll either use the back entrance or we'll plate it, we'll figure out something
Great.
once that starts, because it's very large
Yeah.
structure there, so.
How many culverts do you know off the top of your head?
No, I don't know the sections, but they're approximately 8 feet long.
Okay.
They're, you know,
So
4
the
by 8,
number-
some of them,
yeah. Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a
Wow.
good
Put a
one.
lot of them in.
But Ryan, what are we doing with all the soil that come from all this excavation? Are we using it in the past or no? To fill out the section?
Yeah, we would like to, it's just the permitting process, so it doesn't time up, you can't just go dump soil and just let it sit, that's the problem. And it's gotta be tested, so we would love to just dump it in there and then to reuse it when we raise those fields, it's just the timing of it doesn't work out usually.
So you have to test it before you remove it?
Oh, yeah, yeah, we test it, as soon as it comes out and gets stored on property, they test it, and then once it gets
How long
stored.
take you to get the result when you're gonna test the soil?
I'm sorry,
How long take to get the result? When it's good or not
a
good?
week or so,
Huh?
a few days, but you gotta test it every load that comes out, so.
Oh.
If we need some of this for Johnson Park, would work.
Well, that's what, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
We'd like to
it
do.
would,
Yeah.
it's just, by the time, maybe future projects, once, future contracts when we're working, we could probably use it, it's just, you can't store it now to use it later.
Do you test it while it's still in the ground or after you remove it from the
After
site?
you remove it.
Oh, second,
You could, we use some tests for,
right,
Yeah.
right, okay.
it's something you don't wanna know until you need to know.
Right, yeah.
Because once you disturb it, that's the problem we're having over at Johnson Park, as we discovered the grass field there had some contamination to it, so that changed where we're gonna put the parking lot and
Mhm.
the soil and everything, so once we found that out, we had to adjust our process.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Frank.
The non-CSO areas, Voorhees Pump Lane, Pump Station, that's still due to be finished in the fall. The lineal work was done, the new pump in the existing pump station was replaced. Large diameter sewer jetting, the project's on hold as of now. There's one more section that we have to do in the area of Pink Street. We're waiting for BCUA to coordinate with us to turn the pumps on so that we can see if that has an effect on the pipes.
But everything we were waiting for, like, everything is in rehab, in-house now? We're waiting for any more?
They're building the pump station now.
Okay.
But everything else was done, the lineal work, that was all done at night with P&L, that's all complete.
And that all worked out okay? We didn't interfere with the business? Remember, there's a lot of concern there. Good, I'm glad it went smoothly.
It actually did go smooth,
Good.
as smooth as it could have been. Hudson Street and Water and Kennedy Streets, that is just about wrapped up as well. Since the last meeting, we've cleaned a little over 2,500 lineal feet of pipe and culverts. They've been cleaned and cambered. And then the Anderson drainage area that just started a few weeks ago, that was with National Water Main. And to date, they cleaned a little over 3,000 lineal feet of pipe and culverts in that the Anderson area.
In both of those areas, what were we finding? I remember years ago, when we did some of this downtown, it was amazing what they pulled out of it.
Yeah, overall for Taylor by Rudy, they found like 40 hubcaps in one section.
Really?
Yeah. So it's just a lot of debris, a lot of recycling bottles, things like that.
Wow. Well, everything helps.
Yes, yeah, I think. And then over on Lodi Street, where we're doing the paving, we haven't started paving yet, but we're doing the concrete work. Paving will start soon. We cambered that section as well. We've found 2 or 3 breaks that we've replaced under that Lodi Street contract.
Okay.
So, and a lot of cleaning over there, so I think that'll help that area as well, because that floods every time it rains. And I think it was just due to the debris in the pipes and some areas that were broke. So hopefully once it rains, again, we can find out how well it works.
Ryan, are there any type of like screens or grates we can put throughout the city on the sewers?
Yes,
to try to
every
prevent that?
time we resurface, we
Okay.
upgrade the catch basins. However, a lot of these areas have those old style granite corner pieces
Right,
that are just wide open.
yeah.
So that once we replace those, it tends,
But there's no like temporary kind of screen or anything you
For
can put on?
those, no, because of the granite or curved.
Gotcha.
There's something you could probably make, but that would take, it's something the DPW would have to make in-house.
Okay.
But yeah, there's plates or just you retrofit the heads, and that's what, every time we pave, that's what we do.
Right, okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And, the parks. Park update, for Columbus, the first round of post-tensioning was completed. The courts have been installed and poured. The fencing is going up, and they actually asphalted around the tennis and futsal courts. It looks good. I think it takes a ride down there. It's coming along nicely. Progress is going well. Stein Park, the contractor showed up today and dug for the footings for the new building.
Hooray.
Yeah, so we're got some progress over there, so that's good. And I think one other thing I would like to mention is one of the resolutions on tonight at the council meeting is for the Clinton Street. It's an adjustment to the contract. That was an emergency project that was completed about a month or so ago. When they went in to do the initial repair, we discovered we had to do approximately 35 more feet. And this change in contract picks up those costs.
And do you think that maybe was what a contributing factor to some of the
Yes,
issues we were having?
absolutely.
So it was even worse than we thought.
Yeah, there was a belly in the pipe, and we just had to extend it to pick up the difference in the pipe, and we also corrected one of the laterals that was.
Was that the Kelly building in Clinton or property?
Well, I don't know. Is that, the Clinton and Prospect problems that those folks are having, will this help that in any way, or is this a whole nother area?
The Clinton Prospect area by Mr. Cohen lives, that line comes down and heads, turns on Clarendon.
Right.
So these two aren't connected.
Aren't connected in any way.
Yeah, but
And we still
we're
don't
going up
really,
into that Anderson area.
we still don't really know what's going on over there 100%, right?
That, I think it's mostly just a capacity issue, because
Okay.
it's still combined there. In that particular area from Summit down to Prospect, there's no catch basins. So all the water runs down to that corner and sits, and then.
Can't handle it.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't handle it.
So once it drains out, it goes away. It's just heavy, fast storms, it backs up.
Anybody else have questions?
No, thank you, Ryan.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Good job, Ryan. Thanks so much.
Thank you. You're welcome.
That's all I have, Deputy Mayor.
All right, great. Can I have a motion to open to the public?
Offer.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Von Rudenberg.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus is absent.
If anyone wishes to speak, please give your name and whether or not you live in Hackensack, and you will have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Marty Smith,
Good evening, Martin.
Prospect Avenue. At the last council meeting, Mr. Caruso confirmed that the engineering and planning department of the county had completed a safety study of Polyfly Road and came to the conclusion that there was no need for any upgrades to traffic safety devices at that location. After getting that information from Mr. Caruso, our committee sent a request to Mr. Joseph Famia, who is the Director of Planning and Engineering for the county, asking him to attend a condo co-op advisory board meeting, listing 3 of the next monthly meetings that we schedule. And his reply was as follows, and I quote, "Thank you for your interest in traffic safety within the city of Hackensack. Unfortunately, I am not able to attend such meetings and respectfully decline the invitation. However, if you have specific questions, the engineering division can review and provide a response that can be shared with the advisory board. Please feel free to send any questions or concerns to the engineering division," followed by his name. After receiving that communique from him, we reached out again and asked if it would be possible for us to have a meeting with him at his office. And his reply was in the affirmative. And we are having 3 of our advisory board members meet with Mr. Famia tomorrow at his office
Oh, very
to
good.
discuss their decision based on the Polyfly study and also other county roads in the city that have to be addressed from a traffic safety point of view. Hopefully it will be productive and maybe we can get something accomplished.
Well, that's great news.
Yeah.
Good for pursuing that,
We
not
thought
giving
so.
up.
We didn't think we would get an okay from them.
Yeah, hey, it just shows perseverance pays off.
But in any event, moving on from there, I wonder if anyone on the council can tell me, has the council at this time, in consultation with the city fire department, promulgated any regulations concerning the installation of EV charging stations in high-rise buildings?
Good.
Mr. Smith, we're actually have had a couple meetings very recently regarding EV stations throughout the city. We haven't discussed anything as far as the high rises or anything because it's private property, of course. So it would be, I guess, the association that would want to consider EV stations. There's a lot of programs out there right now where you can probably get the actual charging stations for free. As long as it's a partnership with various, companies that do this. But we are actively pursuing several companies right now to have them in the city on a couple of our municipal lots, Main Street area, because I feel that it's important for us to start to get on board with these, because there's many electric vehicles available nowadays. So we are working on it.
Well, our major concern is what dangers might exist if we had EV stations within the garages of high-rise buildings, particularly those that have multi-level garages underneath their buildings because of the possibility of fire.
Right. I believe we have them in the Atlantic Street garage, right?
Yeah.
We actually, in the Atlantic Street garage, you can take a look at those. We have a couple EV stations in there.
Yeah, and they've been installed for at least 3
They've been
years.
installed for several
Yeah.
years.
Okay, thank you. And the last thing I have, at the last meeting, we brought to your attention the fact that on Polyfly Road at Essex Street, we have a merge point going on to First Street, and also a merge point on Summit Avenue and Essex Street for northbound traffic. And that can be solved very easily by limiting the straight-through traffic to 1 lane and having the dedicated left turn lanes
like you
in
did.
place.
Yeah.
Has that information been sent on to engineering and planning?
I believe it was, yes, so we're just waiting for, you know how that goes.
And one other thing, in the May 17th issue of the Record, Mr. Buttigieg, Transportation Secretary, has announced that $5 billion would be sent to cities for traffic safety. That will go to cities directly who promise to use that funding for improving their streets safety-wise, particularly for pedestrians and cyclists. I don't know if we have any dedicated bicycle lanes in Hackensack as yet or not,
Not
but
yet.
these are the things that the money is specifically.
Our grant writers are usually on top of these things, and we'll be.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir, and keep us posted as to how you make out with the county planner. It's gonna be very interesting.
You'll hear me cheering if it's.
Send us an email or call Vinny, we'd like to hear how you make out.
Hi, Josh Cohen again. I just wanted to thank you for passing or agreeing to the new tree application. There were two main things that we were trying to accomplish with that. One of them, PSC&G, I think this is an ongoing issue where PSC&G comes in and hacks our trees
Yes.
up. Doesn't seem like there's a lot we can do in terms of once the tree is there. But what we've done in the application is separate out underwire trees from wire trees. So it's more clear to everyone that the residents requesting the tree, DPW planning it, it should just be clear that, you know, tall growing trees like maples shouldn't go under wires, and now we have some smaller trees that you can plant under wires. So hopefully that means that, you know, they won't be topping our trees as often in 10 years from now. The other issue was we want to see more variety. So there have been a number of diseases that come through, the ash trees, there's funguses that will wipe out like all of one species of tree. So now that we have more of the maples being planted, we're starting to broaden the selection, and hopefully that won't affect us so much in the future.
And I had read in some of the email streams that there were some concerns at one point about the red and silver maples, but you've resolved that.
Yes.
So now they're supported.
The nursery supports it.
Okay.
I think actually in the ordinance, I mean, I don't think we changed the ordinance. The ordinance itself still says we shouldn't plant silver maples.
I'll check.
Yeah, we have to take,
Yeah, it's not
that's,
necessarily something, you know, we agree with, but that's what there is. And actually what we'd like to see is, I think what it says right now is swamp maples, which isn't really specific. You know, it's using a common name, and swamp maple itself it could be red maples and silver. It's not really that clear.
I think to be consistent, Vinny, that we have
Yeah,
to,
we'd like to
now,
see, like,
this is
some-
step one, now let's get the ordinance done as step two.
Exactly.
And actually, it was fortunate that the application had to come up tonight, because we're modifying the excavation ordinance for something else, and that still had the old $100 fee. So we had great opportunity to up it to the 125 as well, so we made those changes too, so it just came at the right time, so it was on our radar.
Thank you very much.
And thank you. Anyone else wish to speak from the public? Seeing none, can I have a motion to close?
Offer.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus absent.
Okay, now do we close the executive first and then?
Yes, ma'am.
Can I have a motion to close the executive session?
Offer.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus absent.
Now I need a motion to close the committee of the whole.
Offer.
Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus absent.
Okay, so we have just a few minutes for a bathroom break or stretch our legs, and we'll start back up at 8 o'clock.